Hey, it's Terri, your favorite no bullshit artist and business coach, and you're listening to Terri Talks, where we discuss all things taboo, uncovering art industry nonsense, grounding you in confidence and leadership to run an arts business with unwavering power and grit. Hello, and thank you for joining me in another episode of Terri Talks. Today's episode is something that I have been discovering through client work, through some different relationships in the art industry. And I want to talk about some goal setting. I want to talk about which goals are really ours, and how sometimes we can time travel and we skip a lot of the really important things. So, just a couple of different updates. Today is so gloomy in Brooklyn. It has felt kind of like a tropical rainstorm this past couple of days. Really hot, really humid. I don't know where you're tuning in from, but it's been more of that like summertime rain situation. Yesterday, I got caught in the rain and it was just like balls to the walls, super just running down the street, no umbrella. I'm also one of those people who's kind of like anti-umbrella. I usually wear a gigantic, ridiculous camouflage poncho. So didn't have that either. And it was just, I was drenched. But beyond that, I'm actually currently offloading two clients, bittersweet, but they have exceeded their transformation goals. They have exceeded their wants, their desires, and their vision has gotten so much bigger. They can see it fully. So it's been such a beautiful experience to see how my clients flourish. You go from like these like newborn baby eyes where everything is just, you're hungry for everything, and you are starting to kind of eat your way through all of these challenging situations and successes and rejections and all of that stuff. But I've been able to be there for my clients and kind of ride the waves with them. And it's just an incredible thing to see. It's hard to describe the work that I do. It's always hard to describe a service that you're giving to people when it's something that truly has to be experienced. Like you have to want a little bit more for yourself. You have to want the support and be open to like sometimes it's critical feedback. You have to be open to the nitty-gritty shit that people oftentimes don't want to hear when it's something so personal like making art and making money from your artwork. So bittersweet, but this means that I have two open spots for private coaching experiences. And you can either do a 6-month, 9-month, 12-month. I've had these clients for a very long time, and I've seen an insane amount of growth in a very short amount of time. So, yeah, if you're interested, I will make sure to post the link in the caption below. But it's also plastered all over my Instagram. If you're not already following me, it's at Terri Froman. So let's dive into today's episode. So I want to paint this picture for you without making too many assumptions, because I really hate when I get emails or I'm seeing content where a coach is saying, you want X, Y, and Z, but you're not doing X, Y, and Z. What I want to do with this particular episode is sort of paint the picture about a general artist who wants these stereotypical goals, who wants these stereotypical accolades. And here's kind of what I mean. And I actually wrote some notes on this topic. I was talking about it in stories yesterday, and someone was like, you should do an episode on this. So let's just think about this in a very general setting. Maybe it applies to you, maybe it applies kind of to you, but we all want something bigger than ourselves. So maybe it's college, maybe it's this, leadership role at work, maybe it's a promotion of some kind. And we tend to time travel into the future on these big things. I want to be on stage, I want to be famous. But we often don't look at the small micro action steps that it takes to get there, because we want this big thing so bad. It's a little bit of desperation. It's a little bit of envy. It's a little bit of FOMO. It's a little bit of like deep rooted passion. And We want a quick, big win. Okay. But those things 99.9% of the time don't happen to the average person. And we've just got to be real with ourselves. So at the end of the day, we're essentially just dreaming of these grandiose goals that we have in mind, or these reach goals that we have in mind. And we forget about like the little things that it takes to get there, and if we are actually doing those things. So let's just say it's a fully funded residencies, but we don't really have a real plan. It's kind of lofty. It's kind of been in our minds for years, and we haven't written down the deadlines. We haven't done the research to match make with the proper residency, because it's super possible we just don't know how. I was applying to everything under the sun. I did not know anything about matchmaking when it came to certain artist opportunities. I was just like, yeah, I fit the mold for this application, and not really looking at the context of what the residency was maybe about, or the organization, right? We want the solo show because we want like everyone to see how amazing our artwork is, the visibility, the sales, like this big idea of sort of this celebratory party money making event. But we haven't done any networking. We just haven't done outreach. And it's not to like give you a guilt trip about what we haven't been doing, but it takes looking at those small steps first and pulling apart those things for us to realize, like, shit, I actually been missing the mark a little bit, right? And making a list of the things that we could be doing in order to really reach that level of of success and whatever that means to us. But the thing about these quick big wins that we want is that sometimes these goals aren't even fucking ours. They're not even fucking ours. It's what we perceive an artist should want, stereotypically. You have a solo show, you're fucking famous. You sell out. You have a gallery representation, they're handling all the nitty gritty for you. You think that you should have these things in order to be a successful artist with all these accolades behind you, right? This is, to some extent, like the way that an artist can show that they have made it. But we don't have the answer necessarily for what it takes to be an artist who is successful and also has different types of goals, right? So is the only meaning of being a successful artist that we have to have a solo show and a published article and an art review and an incredible magazine by an incredible critic? Does it mean that we have 100,000 followers? Does it mean that we have sold out shows and our gallery representation is just killing it? Is that the only thing that makes us successful as an artist? Or are we pulling those from the stereotype of what other people would think is success as an artist? And the problem with what other people think is that 99% of the time, they're not the artists. They don't even understand the artist industry, and they're really projecting these goals onto our profession, onto our passion. There are so many nuances to what it takes to get there. And I know that everyone kind of, harbors on how hard it is to be an artist. But when you actually introduce yourself as an artist, what's the most common thing that people respond with? Oh my God, that's so freaking awesome. That's amazing. What do you make? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's awesome. It's fucking hard. It's hard. And I want to go into, like, I really want to drill them with all of the really hard things about this. Well, yeah, I have to run my own social media account. Yeah, I have to do all the admin work. Yeah, I have to have time to make artwork when my kids are running around and the dog is fucking barking and I don't have a separate room to make my artwork. Like, I could go into a list of things that make it hard without actually saying it's hard. But, there are fun days and there are not so many fun days, but that's with any fucking job. We're no different, really. A lawyer, has good days and bad days in court. Um, big wins and small wins, and big feeling of failure, when they don't win an incredible case. A teacher has good days and bad days. Shit, I can't even tell you how many fucking bad days I had as a teacher and how many rewarding days I had as a teacher. But at the end of the day, I'm just wondering, like, the people who are projecting onto us, do they understand what we mean and what we feel is part of our career? What are the little things that we're doing like every single fucking day to bust our asses and make sense of it all? So, like, consider this. Like, what if just being present, being active, being super engaged in on different platforms, and making a steady income from your passion was just enough? What if that was enough? Right? You don't want the solo show. That's fine. You don't have to have the solo show. You don't want really a sold out show. Maybe you don't want a crowd of people hovering around your work. Maybe you don't care so much if an article is published about you. Or, maybe what matters to you is this insane collaboration you want to do with a business. Maybe it's, a huge mural that you've been just, dreaming of doing for so long. You've wanted the space to do it, and then someone automatically is like, hey, would you want to volunteer to do something like that? Right? Maybe that's what it means to be successful for you. So let's just quickly go back to, what if we do want the big things? Then what do we do? And a huge the main process that I go through with my clients as soon as we get our work started on the very first call is we go through part of this spreadsheet called the Artist in Business Blueprint. And it's a place where we keep all of our notes in the most organized fashion. And I've created this because there are so many pieces to our businesses that oftentimes we feel the overwhelm without compartmentalizing. And so this document really helps my clients compartmentalize each and every section that makes up the ecosystem of their arts business. So there's a tab called the Dream Pacer. And on the Dream Pacer, there is a section for 1-year goals, 3-year goals, and 5-year goals. And I don't like to exceed that because so much changes. So much in the art industry changes. Our goals change, and so when we start with year 1, it's really important to, like, okay, where are we today and where do we want to be in 6 months, right? Then we go to year 5. Now year 5 is the end goal. You always keep the end goal in mind, which means that in year 5, if you want 3 fully funded residencies, what do we have to do today to really take strides in order to get there? And we do this work. And then at the end of our time together, we actually look at this work and we reflect on, like, how much we've gotten done in year 1. And do we have to adjust these goals because you've expedited everything? And my clients exceed their goals every single time. So when I offboarded them last week, we were looking at year 1, and not only did she meet all of her achievements, but she even added on, like, that she got her artwork in the Boston Art Review, that she had a fully funded solo art show, that she sold 3 works at the art show within the first 48 hours, right? So all of these different things, right, she was able to accomplish in only 6 months, right? So then her 5-year goals might shift a little bit because of what she's already done. Her 3-year goals are definitely going to shift a little bit. Maybe she now is like, you know what? I want to move my studio outside of my apartment in 3 years, but I probably could do that next year. So it's a lot of, like, going back and forth, but keeping track and monitoring your progress is such a big part of being a business owner. Because one, we could stay stagnant for the next 10 years, or we can start to really be a lot more intentional about how we want to get somewhere. and those small steps to getting there to make shit happen. And that's the work that we do together. So, if you're interested in having this type of support and having this type of speed and having this type of, ambition, and it's not just, I guess it's not just about being interested, it's about being really committed to it. And I work with people who have an insane grit level, right? Nothing is going to stop them. So like I said, I have 2 spots open for one-on-one private coaching experiences that are highly, highly tailored to the client needs. They're really holistic packages that come with audits, that come with, as much support as you can really get for this type of experience that my clients receive. I also am so excited that I fucked that up the other day. June 18th is when we will be having the quarterly summertime Creators Power Hour. So if you're not really looking to invest right now, that's cool. But you're looking for a really low investment in gaining that type of support in a group mentorship setting, and this is the perfect place to hop in at your leisure and just like use me up. So stay tuned. We're going to wrap this episode up. So I will see you on the gram. Have a wonderful rest of the day wherever you are and whatever time it is. Manifesting big sales for you. Thanks for listening to another unfiltered episode of Terri Talks. I've also got some free resources on my website that will help make your life a lot easier as an artist in business. You can also check out my services or apply to work together. Before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and sign up for my newsletter for more art industry information. See you on the gram.